They're gearing up now to jump into this final leg of this quarter-final. Portugal, who have been through it all in the tournament so far, can they go one step further? Or will they be bested by the boys of Spain?
And of course, Spain, you can see XeXu and Zidane focusing up, because this is it. No second chances here. We have to find a winner at the end of this 2v2. Portugal in the red, Spain in the white, their away strip, as we're underway in the deciding leg.
And Spain right from the get-go. Sorry, Portugal right from the get-go in the red. Trying to just catch Spain off guard. And I mean, the difference between these four players in terms of global series rankings, RastaArtur and Tuga both in the top 15. XeXu and Zidane, well, they're hovering around that 60th mark. These points that they've secured should get them towards the playoffs and maybe one step closer to the eWorld Cup. And I'm sure they're going to be thinking about the eNations Cup and lifting it for Spain.
Portugal on the attack then, Ronaldo, cricketers inside. Vieira trying to drive the ball back out wide. Neymar will win possession back here for Portugal. Neymar now onto that left foot, trying to drive it into that near post. A goal we've seen a lot today from Portugal.
Spain just need to be well aware of how Portugal have been trying to secure those goals. If you can stick tight to the defender, not allow them to turn on the ball, not allow them to beat that first man, then you're going to be in an okay spot. You just need to make sure that their second player is going to be able to running off the ball and chasing any sort of run down either wing. Because otherwise things get very tricky if suddenly you have players running left, right and centre past your defenders.
And just a reminder to everyone watching at home, in the knockouts, in this 2v2, we have to have a winner. So after regular time, the game is all tied up. We go to extra time, and then the dreaded penalty spot will decide who will go through if required.
And we say if required, and you might be thinking, well, surely it wouldn't go to penalties. In the E-Club World Cup, we saw quite a few penalty shootouts in the knockout stages after a 2v2.
And you don't want to be the player to miss, but here's Mbappe coming forward here for Spain. Portugal winning the ball back. No surprise to see impressive defence here from Portugal with the two players that we have on show in Tuga and RastaArtur.
It's whether Tuga can bring his defensive ability and his willingness to just sit back and absorb possession and give it to RastaArtur, a player who is fantastic at counter-attacking. Combine those two play styles together to create this force that Portugal seem to be bringing to this tournament.
Spain have this never-say-die attitude so far in the tournament. They've not looked fluent, we have to say. They have struggled at times, but they keep grinding out the results. And you look back at the Euros and the World Cup, sometimes it's not the team who plays the most fantastic football who picks it up on the real pitch. It's the ones who are effective. Ronaldo! What a chance that was! And the irony that the Spanish goalkeeper, David De Gea, is the one that keeps Spain at bay.
But Mexico and Denmark, of course, is currently underway, and from the corner, it bounces back to Huller, and Mexico take the lead as they edge their way closer to a semi-final. But we know that Denmark definitely got it within them to make a comeback.
Spain on the attack, no goals to report so far in this game. Mbappe twisting and turning here. Vieira drives the ball just into the range of Ruud Gullit to stick out one of his limbs to pick the ball up.
We were speaking about communication. I mean, if you keep a keen eye on the player cams, RastaArtur and Tuga definitely having more of a conversation than the Spanish lads. There's a lot more focus, you could argue, from the Spanish boys, but whether that lack of communication might hurt them.
Interesting to see that both XeXu and Zidane have their headsets on as well, so they're completely immersed in the moment.
I mean, players work in a very different way, and if they had played together enough, if they've had enough practice together, they'll know how each other wants to approach the game, what runs they'll be making. But I personally do think communication is a very important aspect, and maybe that gives Portugal the advantage, but it's still Spain going forward here, and it's Spain with the corner, with a chance to potentially take the lead.
Around 10 minutes to half-time here. Whipped into the box. Well, it clears it away here. Spain still on the attack, and they have grown into this game. You saw all sorts of space at the back post there for R9. But Rudhull's positioning was good enough to make sure that ball did not reach the Brazilian icon.
And whilst all I talk about communication and how important it is, of course there is the other side where sometimes communication can get in the way. If communication is bad, you might make a wrong call.
Cristiano Ronaldo in towards the back post. It has to come out. Because Rudhull was lurking there, just looking for a simple header into the back post. To give Portugal the lead there, and Spain will come away now. 5 minutes before half-time.
And in 2v2s, we are going to see more headers than usual. I know that in 1v1 we see a lot of back post headers anyway in this current meta, but with how you can defend so successfully with two players and you can press, sometimes all you can do is cross it.
There is that ball in, and it's Ronaldo who gets up. Well, it made a great effort to get towards it himself, but we do have another goal here between Mexico and Denmark. Cristiano Ronaldo finding Mbappe, the scoop turn, the cricketer, link them together. Tell me it doesn't work, and that is going to be Denmark back on level terms.
And I would say, which player was that? But three cricketers,
Well, you said this last time.
I can take a guess. Well, that time, it was Marcuso. He was thanked by his coach. Houston and Marcuso starting to synergise and starting to adapt and learn from one another. The same could be said for all teams.
Spain on the attack here just before half-time then. Flicked up, cross comes in, Maldini deals with it here for Portugal. No goals to report at the break. And this 2v2 decider.
And it's whether either of these sides are going to take a risk in terms of their formation, in terms of their tactics. Portugal, who are, of course, adopting that 4-4-2 that so famously was played by Tuga in the likes of Bucharest, in the likes of Atlanta when he finished in second place to Tex. But during halftime, we're going to jump over to Mexico versus Denmark, live here, as it is Mexico going forward. But good defensive work from Denmark. Even though I do say that you do have a lot of ability to defend in a 2v2 because you can cover so many different areas, that doesn't mean it's easy to do so. You need to be very aware of the game and a very good FIFA player to do it successfully.
Disciplined as well, to make sure that you're not pulling a player out of position when you get a little bit hungry to pick possession back off of a player. Free kick here for Mexico. We've seen a few banged in direct here today, and it's going to be Neymar who goes direct, and is only denied by the woodwork.
It seems like everyone's got their shooting boots on from free kicks today, and I love it. Just not quite enough though, but Mexico with momentum.
Here's Ronaldo trying to find the ball through to Cristiano Ronaldo, who's making that darting run in behind. Around 7 minutes or so until half-time. Nothing to split the two teams again in this game, but at least we have the goals to report. 1-1.
If it is about who can deal with the pressure, you'd have to imagine Marcuso and Houston have the experience on their side as real veterans of the scene. However, Villamor and Beto, new, fresh face and have the passion.
Pull it then into Neymar, tried the scoop turn Vieira, using every inch of his frame to make the interception there. I'm going to take a look in at both games at once because we have both of these games continuing at the same time here. The most important thing is no one at the moment has taken either of these games by the scruff of the neck.
I would not be surprised if one of them goes to extra time, as Mexico have a shot from distance but just goes wide of the post. And it's because all of these teams so evenly matched. I mean, not just in 1v1 where of course we saw draws happen, but in 2v2 as well. Nothing seems to be able to separate them just yet.
Keeping my eye on the left-hand side of the screen at the moment. Dan, you've got a job to do on the right-hand side, as we're just approaching half-time here. But we will go and watch Portugal versus Spain. Incredibly, it's no surprise, Dan, to see both these games be fairly cagey affairs with what is on the line here. A spot in the semi-finals of the first ever eNations Cup.
And Portugal haven't had particularly high-scoring games throughout the tournament, and that is mainly because of Tuga and his play style, how he does like to sit back. but it's when he goes forward, it's when he has that momentum with him. It does look scary.
Mbappe takes the strike there, and that surprised me to see De Gea having to dive across his goal there to turn that behind for a corner. The left foot of Mbappe on the turn, causing the Spaniards some problems.
The trouble is when it does come down to a deciding match and it gets a little bit more tense, and look at...
That's the communication we're talking about,
Look at Portugal.
That's the communication that could separate these two teams. Fascinating to see what happens now from this corner. Portugal whip it in towards the back post. And Ronaldo just lets the ball run out for a goal kick. I'm pretty sure that wasn't what was discussed.
It was almost there, though. You saw how they were controlling Cristiano Ronaldo towards the back post. The other player controlling Hullet in the centre, and he wanted to head it down to Hullet, who would then nod it in. We saw, I think it was Tex and Nicholas do it at the E-Club World Cup when they first partnered together in this format. And they showed that set pieces can be so deadly if you do communicate, you do try things. But Spain also starting to have a little bit of a chin wag now as well. Important to let your partner know how you're feeling, how the game's going, if they're doing anything right, anything wrong. As we move over again to Mexico and Denmark, still all tied up here as well.
Mexico on the attack. 4-4-2 being employed here. You can see both players here from Denmark controlling either Vieira or Hullet in those central defensive midfield positions. Mexico creeping forward. Neymar's dancing past his man until Virgil van Dijk decides that was enough of that. He stepped in and made the tackle. Now Mbappe. With space here on the left-hand side here for Denmark. Cricketter's inside. Ball inside here, Neymar gets it on the right foot, decides to go on the left. Big save from RastaArtur. Ball stays in play.
And somehow it still stayed in play.
Still in play.
Van Dijk doing a big job to stop that from going for a corner, but it's still possession for Denmark. Thankfully, Mexico get a foot in. It's whether they're going to creep forward again. I've noticed Mexico like to keep their finger off that right trigger, or that R2, depending on which console you're on. They don't like to sprint. They just like to have a leisurely jog towards their opponent to give them more chance of watching their moves and trying to beat that man.
Varane wins the header, but the second ball will be won by R9 Ronaldo. Sent wide here to Neymar then. Denmark trying to construct an attack, and they're going to get a chance here. Neymar's inside the box. Cricketter's past one. Big chance, and Denmark go into the lead just after the hour.
He did enough just to encourage the slightest bit of goalkeeper movement, and as soon as he saw it, he banged it in near post. And I don't care if it was Marcuso, I don't care if it was Houston. The whole of Denmark has earned their place in the quarter-final, and it looks like they're on the way to a semi-final if they can keep this result. They've both played phenomenally all tournament long, and now Mexico have it all to do again.
And I have to highlight, though, defensively, Denmark have been shaky for the entire tournament in both 1v1s and 2v2, so there's still light at the end of the tunnel here for Mexico if they can find a goal in the last 25 or so minutes in this game. Still time to work with.
And tactical changes on both sides, but 3 at the back is going to be the option for Mexico. There's several different avenues you can go if you really want to throw everything forward, but 3 at the back seems to be the most common to try and get more attacking players on the pitch.
Moving back across to Spain versus Portugal, though, as we're inside the last 10 minutes of this game, and a goal here you have to feel would book either of these nations a place in the semi-finals. Portugal on the attack. Eusebio gives it away there.
Both of these nations have been involved in very late drama throughout the group stages. Who can find it when they need it most in the quarter-final, though?
Here's Ronaldo for Spain. Ball in towards the back post. Ball drops to Modric. De Gea with a massive save to keep this at 0-0.
You do ask a lot of your goalkeepers in FIFA 19 sometimes. And of course, you can encourage their movement. You can move them as much as you want with that right stick. And one of those players has to be in charge of that as well, Mark, in 2v2. We've not mentioned it too much, but responsibilities are going to be dished out maybe a player will be saying, look, I'll be taking the free kicks.
I'll
you
take
control
the
the
free kicks.
goalkeeper.
You can control the goalkeeper. Can't make a mistake from a free kick.
You could definitely waste a free kick, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it fine if it was in the 90th minute?
If I'm playing with you, yeah, it's absolutely fine.
Oh,
but
okay.
anyway, tactical change is being made. 4-4-2 versus the 4-1-2-1-2. I feel like that cam might be pivotal here in these last few moments here for Spain. If they can get a ball into that cam in that position with those two strikers just ahead of him, behind those two central defensive midfielders, you might just find a little pocket of space. You might be able to find a pass. You might be able to create the chance that could send Spain through to the semi-final.
I think the key word there is might, though. A central attacking midfielder trying to break through the two central defensive midfielders of Hullet and Vieira is sometimes feels impossible in games of FIFA, especially if your opposing team is defending well. But Portugal here, they want the last attack of the game. They're saying, all right, it's extra time or it's our victory. And as it ticks over to the 91st, 92nd minute, now is when they need to go forward.
And here they come, Portugal marching forward, Ramos with the tackle, and there is the full-time whistle. We'll go in extra time between Portugal and Spain here in our quarter-final.
Couldn't split them on the PlayStation, couldn't split them on the Xbox, and can't even split them in 2v2 now. So it has to be extra time and then potentially a penalty shootout. And a penalty shootout in a 2v2 situation is even better.
Oh.
There's so much pressure put on you if you're controlling the goalkeeper or if you're shooting at the time. But while we're waiting for extra time, we can see how Mexico and Denmark pan out, and you can see Denmark still with a 2-1 lead here.
Denmark still on the attack as well. R9's bursting past the fullback there, Ramos, but Van Dijk gets back in to make the tackle. 10 minutes left for Mexico to create something here, to give themselves a chance of making a semi-final at the eNations Cup. Moving back over to Portugal, Spain, into extra time now. No goals to report in the 2v2.
Of course, we'll update you on that other game when a result comes in, or if there's an equaliser or even a cushion for Denmark. Which team wants to take the risk in this one? Because I know no one likes a penalty shootout. And even if you say you like a penalty shootout, I know secretly you don't like a penalty shootout. Sure, we all like watching them, but we don't like being in them.
Spain on the attack then, Ronaldo. Great ball into Ronaldinho. Cricketa from one, and Ramos has to deal with it. There was a man just lurking over his right shoulder as he went back towards his goalkeeper. Portugal defend well. Messi into Mbappe. And this is where the 4-4-2 might be able to counter-attack well. Hullet, though, wins the ball back. Portugal stream forward again. Messi now. Good tackle from Luka Modric.
And you can see what Portugal are trying to do, though. With those runs off the ball, they keep sending Messi down the left and then switching off, hoping that Spain are going to be targeting that left-hand side and track the run, and then instantly switch to one of the strikers and make a run with them instead, looking for one of the lofted through balls over the top. If it pulls off, they should have a chance with a 1v1 with the keeper. But Spain have done very well to react quickly to it.
Portugal come forward once more just before half-time in extra time here in our quarter-final. Pull it into Vieira. The dynamic duo working their way up the pitch. Here's Mbappe. Back to Hullet. Little reverse ball here to Messi. Look for the extra pass. And it was there. But De Gea was quick off his line to gather the ball.
And sometimes you've got to be brave and just take that shot. In a 2v2, sometimes you don't want to be the one to take that shot, to miss that chance. And it's all down to your personality traits. Do you seize the moment, or are you one who wants to set up your partner? Possession very much in favour of Portugal, even deep into extra time. But they still haven't been able to find that breakthrough goal. And now things start to get a little bit twitchy, a little bit more nervous. Only 15 minutes left.
We're in stoppage time here. Mexico versus Denmark, and Denmark are holding on for dear life here. Just a few more moments and Denmark will be in the semi-finals. Cleared up field. Is that enough? Ramos sends it forward. And I think that Denmark have done it. I think that Mexico's run might come to an end. The referee refusing to blow his whistle. Ramos puts it out, and there is the whistle. Houston and Marcuso. They make it happen in the 2v2, and they'll make it through to the semi-finals.
And who's there to join them as well? Akker, a player who maybe could have been on that Danish team. But I think he'll be more than happy to see Marcuso and Houston hurtling towards the semi-finals, where of course they will face up against Argentina. Now, Portugal and Spain, we still have to settle this little matter.
Spain win the ball back here. And we're inching closer and closer to a penalty shootout here, Dan. Pull it. Ball over the top. Varane's got to track his man here, does so well. Van Dijk. A little bit of time on the ball to pick a pass. Maldini now at that left-back spot. Here for Spain, and Hullet. All sorts of space in front of him, and he's going to not need a second invitation to go into that space. Hullet driving the entire length of the field here. Three men come across. Ball into the box to Gea. He hasn't dealt with that in the best way possible, but at least he's dealt with it.
And now if we did go to a penalty shootout, it's where the coaches really come into play. Have they done their research? Have they been watching penalties throughout the tournament? Do they know anything on their opposition's style with penalties? Or do you just leave it to your players to go with their gut feeling? Just a little under 3 minutes left in extra time before added on time of extra time, which we can usually imagine around 2 minutes, 3 at most. The possession has been so much in favour of Portugal, and they just need to hold off this attack from Spain now.
Just a few moments, but Portugal have won the ball back here. Hullet. Last attack of the game here. Portugal have the ball, and they're not adverse to a last-second winner, but Modric wins the ball back here. Eusebio for Portugal. He gets it back. Cricket is inside the box. Varane makes the tackle, and it is going to be a penalty shootout here.
Penalties, one of the most nervous things in real football, but it translates to FIFA as well, as Eusebio steps up for Portugal to take the first one. Goes left, saved by De Gea. Push to the right. Advantage for Spain. Can they equalise here? But no! Another save! And it's all tied up.
Both teams shooting blanks at the start then. Messi now for Portugal. Longer run up here. Tuga steps up, slides in into the left-hand side. Now Spain need to tie things up. Modric steps up, straight down the middle. It's 1-1 here.
And it falls back onto RastaArtur. He couldn't watch when Tuga was taking his penalty. Steps towards the middle with Patrick Vieira. Sends it down the middle, but stays for David De Gea. Spain have the chance with Ronaldinho to take the lead, but it's gone way wide, and that's a terrible penalty. Pressure got to him.
Still tied up then. Portugal step up again. Mbappe versus De Gea, and it's another save. The nerves again to the players here. Spain with the chance to go in front, but no! Another save!
Pull it then for Portugal in such a tense penalty shootout. They would put Spain on a must-score penalty if they do put this one
down as well. You can see
the coach giving a little bit of advice. Hullet steps up, goes down the middle again, and now it's on Spain.
All the pressure back on Spain then. Vieira steps up and he scores! Blow for blow here in the penalty shootout, and it's Cristiano Ronaldo for Portugal to step up.
RastaArtur just can't look yet again as Tuga does step up right into the bottom left-hand corner. Perfect penalty.
Side netting from Ronaldo. Now it's Hullet. Now it's Spain. But it's Portugal's time here in London. What a celebration from Tuga. What a reaction from Portugal. And again, the drama is surrounding these Portuguese players, but they stay alive here in London.
It was a last-minute winner in the group stages. They couldn't split the difference with Spain in PS4, Xbox, or the 2v2. It had to come down to penalties. But Tuga and Rasta, they've done it.